whilst everybody's still at their tables. Right, welcome to episode 40, the Big 4-0 Holiday Halloween Special, specially written for tonight.
Especially truncated for tonight.
Especially truncated for tonight. So episode 40, as you can now see, Rise of an Empire, be that which you were meant to be.
What?
I know,
Whatever
right?
that.
So we are on a short episode tonight, and obviously because Nevin is being bothered by a fly. Or is the Grudge sitting in the corner?
What is that?
Octopus.
A clock.
I'm going with octopus. A what?
Clock.
Clock.
A what?
Right. So, what happened last week? Well, that
Clock. I've left it up.
So last week, Caradak kicked off, caused a massive row. Ulmakor tried to stop it.
Stop another war.
That's pretty much 3 hours. So you last week we saw the group battle against some unknown gluttonous word-making up creature.
Gelatinous.
Yes, we did this last week as well. Gelatinous.
Gelatinous.
Yeah.
I don't know what gelatinous is, but it sounds good. Probably means more like
gelatinous is the Latin. It's the original word, you know.
Yeah.
And it means floppy.
It's an influent Semnothai. You should know that.
Exactly.
Oh, yes, right, yeah.
Exactly. It's in the ancient first century language. Grim nearly died. Alfgeir tried to save him. Was unable to do so. Then Caradak stormed his way through, pulled the Slayer free. You retreated from the corridor. You lost one of the Umbarogan tribesmen in the process. And then you retreated down the corridor. The creature did not follow. You then walked around the building to see if there was an access point. You found a small hole. Possibly a rabbit or sort of a wild dog or a wolf, like a burrowing hole that led inwards underneath the extended building. However, there were trails. There was a strange looking track that on initial spotting didn't look much like an animal track, but there was something distinct about it. You followed it to the northeast gate where the tracks clearly crossed through the gateway and over the bridge leading towards the northeastern bank and the great forest opposite. At that point, Caradak did something that he's never done before in 30 years. He grabbed a hold of Ulmakor and physically pulled him around. His demeanour, his attitude was very aggressive, very angry, using choice language. He basically challenged, almost called Ulmakor out for wanting to follow these tracks towards the Great Forest. He challenged Ulmakor's decision to follow this, saying, the creature is inside the building, why are you doing this? He specifically, and I'm paraphrasing, actually said, we are here to root out the darkness and kill it. It's in the building. Why are you doing this, Ulmakor? Ulmakor, taken aback by this, could only stare on as he sort of tried to control his emotions over this entire thing. Alfgeir and Grim stood by waiting. Alfgeir nervously, Grim probably not necessarily aware that there was an aggressive confrontation. But before it could go any further, Caradak stormed off. Now, Grim, after a couple of moments, followed him. Alfgeir, not sure what who to follow, what to do in these circumstances. This is the man who remembers, as a boy being, on some, so seriously stressful journey with these guys, and he's seeing a difference that wasn't there 5 years ago. Ulmakor, effectively said Alfgeir after he was inquired, just follow him. He seems to know something I don't. I'm going to follow these tracks, but stay with Caradak. So Alfgeir quickly followed after. Both Alfgeir and Grim, more for Alfgeir's point of view, noted 3 Umbarogan warriors turn and follow Caradak. Before he could get to Caradak and this group, They had a swift conversation. And then Caradak turned again and continued on his path. These three warriors, turned round to be confronted by Alfgeir, the champion's champion. And they were somewhat put back by the presence of Alfgeir, the member of authority standing before them. Their excuse for why they were there was, or not their excuse, but their reasoning behind it was that they'd seen the confrontation and they thought it was for the best interests of the town, that this clear angered VakTare was questioned almost for his conduct, and having decided that he wasn't posing a threat to the peace, they were about to head to their duties, which was guard duty. Alfgeir kind of squinted at them, not necessarily 100% sure about it, but told them to get on with their duties, to get to where they were supposed to be, because they were late. He then caught up with Grim and headed towards the King's Hall. When they got to the King's Hall, they noticed Caradak acting strange. He'd grabbed the debris that had been torn from the doorway just 20-30 minutes earlier, and he was arranging it. And he could see these markings upon the timber. He was, does anyone know what this is? This is writing. Alfgeir and Grim looked upon it, and it didn't look like writing. It just looked like scorch marks. In itself, interesting. But there was no writing there, but Caradak was quite convinced there was. At this point, the king arrived with his escort. He was arriving due to the original summoning of the guard to this fight, this battle. There was already quite a considerable presence of soldiers in the King's Hall itself who were guarding this entrance, and there was a half dozen on the outside. When the king arrived, he was quickly informed of this monstrosity, this thing that had killed one of his men. He called for his sword, and as he strode towards the doorway, Caradak intervened. He put himself in between the king and the door. He told the king, don't go in there. The king, obviously taking this as a challenge, went to push past him. At which point, Caradak did something that is against the laws of any tribe. He grabbed the king's hand, twisting his wrist and taking him to the knee, causing pain. Witnesses, people that were there, heard the sound of breaking bone. The king reacted immediately. The sword in his hand, he went to plunge it towards the VakTare. Grim, the Drengi, out of nowhere, appeared. He trapped the blade and blocked it to defend, in that sense. Alvar charged forward, and he was trying to break the grip of Caradak, putting his whole strength into this one hand. And for that moment, for anybody watching, you could see this VakTare holding the very large King Bjorn down with just by gripping his hand, with Alvar the champion, who they would always expect to have drawn a blade and strike down the VakTare for assaulting the king, was in fact seemingly wrestling with no ability, with all his strength, to break the grip. The dwarf, this Drengi, had pushed against Caradak, clearly vastly larger across the chest and shoulders, and had not been able to move the VakTare from the doorway, and had then resorted in defending the VakTare against the king. Alfgeir stepped forward, not quite sure what to do here, prepared to defend the king, but in this case there was that moment, that hushed moment of what happens next. The soldiers around moved with one single purpose: defend the king and kill his assailants. For a moment the Drengi and the VakTare looked to be going to fight the Unbroken. And Ulmakor arrived. Ulmakor arrived and called out, using the power of the seventh eye, holding people in check, holding people from assaulting. A simple but very loud shouted, "Stop this nonsense." He ordered Caradak to release, but Caradak was already in the process of doing so at the appearance of Ulmakor. He told the king, he helped the king up, he asked somebody to help the king up. Alfgeir and Alvar did so. They took him to his throne and sat him down. Ulmakor told Caradak, who was trying to say, "This is not what I wanted." Well, he did say that, but Ulmakor said, "You be quiet, you stand there, do not move." He turned to the king and he said, "There is a darkness here that is affecting us. Something is happening. We're all being affected. We need to root this out. This is out of character." The king, with a simple, very cold, but angered voice, stared directly at Ulmakor at the seventh eye and said, You have 24 hours to root this evil out. If you fail, the full strength of the Ulmakor will be set against Caradak. His attack on me will not be tolerated. And that's where the episode ended. Obviously, as the episode came to a halt, the situation is dire. The situation is explosive. All the power in this room, and there's clearly a considerable amount more of Ulmakor coming. There will be death, but there is no logical way that the VakTare and the Semnathai, who would normally have also fear on their side because of their numbers and their response, we're in a situation where the tribes, specifically as you've noticed here with this tribe, because of the sacrifices, because of the journey that was begun 5 years ago, they've been freed, they've been empowered. The strength of the Semnathai and the VakTare are now singular. They're in a throne room surrounded by people that will move at the drop of a hat, at the slightest provocation, to kill. You are in close quarter, surrounded by the warriors, the personal guard of King Bjorn, the champion, the new champion that's in training. You have Grim, you have Drengi, and yes, you will be able to give a good telling of yourself. There will be a massive toll on the Ulmakor, but ultimately you will lose. But combat and the attack on the king itself cannot be, not the attack, but the assault on the king cannot be overlooked. It cannot be ignored. Caradak has broken the laws of the land. Even the Semnathai recognise that the king, under the control of the Sakaniks that were there, direct to the Soviets, the council of the Semnathai, even the king is a representative. He is the control. Caradak has stepped over a line. He has committed a crime that is punishable by death. But on top of that, you have the situation with the Ulmakor that they are protected or have been protected by Ulmakor, who used to be the Zakanik of this tribe. Things are dire. Blood is in the air. Ulmakor, you stand before the king. King Bjorn is known to be a peerless warrior, but he has been pushed and he has been assaulted and he has been injured. But he has just tried to kill the VakTare, and for the first time in your life, apart from the Visok, not only have you just been disrespected by your bodyguard, but you've been disrespected by the king, who has threatened that in 24 hours, if no proof of this darkness affecting people's personalities, affecting those around him, he will turn the strength of the Ulmakor on Caradak. That's arrest and beheading, if not killed in the process. And you know Bjorn, and you've known him a long time, and he does not threaten idly. So there we are. And without further ado, we shall now move forward. You were standing, addressing the king. You've just been given this ultimatum. You had started to talk when the full impact of this insult to you struck you. How does Ulmakor deal with this? How is Ulmakor responding?
So I sort of turn, so I'm addressing not just Bjorn, but also the massed sort of crowd that's there. And you all know me. You've known me for years. I've been with you for years. I was your Zakanik for years. I represented you, and I fought for you and your ways and beliefs, and in your corner with the Semnathai. Nothing I do is done for petty or mean reasons. It's not done for personal aggrandizement. I care not for riches. I care not for power. I have power. I have position. It means nothing to me. Caradak is my right-hand man. He enacts my will, and he works for the same reasons. He works for the good of the tribe. What he did tonight crossed the line. We all saw that. You all saw that. Bjorn, clearly you feel it. He didn't do it because he wanted to enact or show his power or try and bring the Seventh Eye and the VakTare back. He's trying to survive. He's trying to keep you alive. If, Bjorn, you were going to walk into a trapdoor, and one of your men hurled himself at you and knocked you asunder, causing you some injury but protecting your life, would you have him killed? Or would you look at the bigger picture and say, 1 second, he was only acting on my best behalf? What we can do if we want, Bjorn, is I can open that hallway again and you can confront that horror. Strong man, great warrior, and your end will be fantastic and brief, and then you will be crushed and you will die a terrible death, a pointless death. What we need to do is stop these petty... Well, I'll take that back. And I'll ask if forgiveness on that, Bjorn, because you have been assaulted. What you need to do is you need to look at the bigger picture. There is a thing down that corridor that we don't lightly walk away from. I don't walk away from anything lightly. And that thing down there should not be there, and it doesn't react to the way I would anticipate things like that should. There's clearly a power working. What you need to do, I'm happy to open that door and you can walk down there, but the horror will get you. And you'll have a moment of clarity, Bjorn, where you'll realise, oh, actually, there's a bigger thing going on here. And then you'll die. And then your son will be without his father and his guidance. So I'd ask you, whilst your reaction is perfectly reasonable, and in other times would be just and right, and in other times I would help you put this, what would consider insolent VakTare to death myself. However, it's not about that. And I don't speak this lightly, and I don't say this just because it's Caradak. I'm saying that there is something going on here. But if you want to see what's going on down here, we can open that door together, and you probably won't survive. So I ask you to think carefully that this is not, what was done here was not done lightly. It wasn't done as a show of power. It wasn't done to belittle you. It was done to save you. And if you take a slight injury, and I know you're a man of great strength and you will recover from this, but understand that in saving you, some damage was done, but your life was saved, and your son still has a father. I'm hoping that you'll rethink your ultimatum for the friendship that we have borne, for the years of advice that I've given you, and for the bigger picture that we both need to focus on, which is on man, not on one individual tribe. Now, I see a lot of people here, a lot of faces that know me. I don't take threats lightly. And ordinarily, if I thought this was just a threat, I would react accordingly. But I'm also looking at this as the bigger picture. I'm also looking at the fact that this is something that is not right here. These reactions and these things that we're seeing is not right. Think about it. These are not the actions of Caradak as you know him, and you've known him a while. These are not the actions of Ulmakor when threatened by anyone, and you've known me even longer. So take a moment, get some aid and treatment for your hand, and we'll work out what is going on here, because it's not the norm.
Ulmakor, because you knew my father and you've stood by this tribe, because you helped me at a time when my wife needed you. Because of you, my child was born into this world. You are a friend, but as you've said, you are an advisor. Your dog has stepped out of line more than once today. It is not that he tried to save my life. It is that when I told him, ordered him, to stand aside, he refused. I told him again, stand aside. He refused. You ask me, as a favour to you, to let his next actions be ignored. Alvar, Alfgeir, go down the corridor. Tell me what you see. If there is, as you say, a creature there, and I trust you, Ulmakor, so there must be. They do not have to engage. If there isn't, the ultimatum stands. Because it is Caradak, not Ulmakor, that has broken the laws of the land. So, Alfgeir, Alvar, be about it. Alvar does so, looking towards you, Alfgeir, as he passes by, drawing his sword for the first time.
The sword's not going to help. I've already seen it.
Do as your king says.
I will.
He crosses through the crowd. The soldiers that were already there have already parted to one side. The new ones that have arrived, again letting people come through. Everyone is staring, mixed between Caradak, Ulmakor and Grim. You enter the corridor and continue down, taking a brand with you. The smell of rotting meat and the salted air, dirt, swamp water assails your nostrils, slightly weaker than last. Alfgeir moves ahead, brand and sword. Are you close beside him?
Yeah.
He gets to the doorway that has been kicked in. Nothing's happening. You can't hear the sound, and he puts the brand inside the room itself, starting to step in. He's looking around, he's looking above, ready to defend himself and strike if needs be. He's only stepped in at this point because his caution to get to this doorway showed no attack. There's nothing visible. What is around the room is debris. Bed, the remains of shelves, a chest iron banded on the floor. They all look like they've gone through a considerable amount of deterioration and rot, as if they've been on the bottom of the lake. Salted water has rotted through them. The place smells of damp and mildew. It drips. You see some of the mucus from the creature earlier is upon the floor. There is evidence of something amiss, but there's no evidence of the creature. You see a hole on the left wall near the far end of the room, close to the wall itself, going down into the base, going down into the underneath the hole itself. He shines the torch down into it. As he's doing so, you see the light reflect. You're obviously aware, you're looking around. He's looking down the hole, you're staring around the room, ready to try and defend yourself. You find your eyes settling on shards of bone, clearly human.
Ah, the soldier.
This is yellowed, shattered, bits missing. Not fresh bone, it has no meat to it. But thinking of that, you look up to the corner where you saw the man go, and he is, or parts of him, are still attached to the wall. The glutinous mass that had produced him that had grabbed him is still holding bits of his body up, but the meat is almost stripped to the bone. There's part of his face visible. There is sinew and tissue still hanging from his shredded armour. Most of him has been what can only appear to be slothed away. But this other bone is yellow, it's older. Alfgeir turns the torch. He sees the man above, his face grim. Let's back out. In silence, you could hear a feather drop in the main hall when Alfgeir and Alvar return. As you can see, some of the mess has landed upon them. There's dampness to their hair, some on their uniform. My king, there is something, or was something, in the room. We have found the remains of the soldier that we were told had died in there. But we also find a hole in the ground. There is no creature as such. I would have to say that there is enough information there. There is enough visual evidence to say that something is definitely in there. Though, with Ulrich as my witness, I can't say that it is responsible for the VakTare's actions. King Bjorn looks at you. You are unaware. The reason that I was away was I was summoned by Amar. Not summoned in the sense of a king being summoned by an envoy, but told that there was something of grave importance. I went to where he was staying and he was saddled up with his soldiers and he was leaving. The Jatones have crossed the northern border. But worse than that, the king reports that his villages near Marburg are under attack. You have 24 hours to find something for me. We leave this time tomorrow with the might of the Unbroken. What you tell me in those 24 hours will dictate my next decision afterwards. Whether it will be to detain Caradak until my return, or to execute him based on his infractions, Ulmakor.
Bjorn, do you want to take a walk with me down that corridor and look at the remains of your bondsman, of your soldier, and see what could have become of you? This was not done lightly. Not done lightly. You must know that. You can see that.
I have said my piece, Ulmakor.
I understand that there is a greater threat to your kingdom, and you must respond to that. You must understand that your kingdom is one of many kingdoms that I need to respond to. It's a common foe we seek, and it must be laughing itself all the way to the north at us fighting between ourselves. I understand that you're upset. I can understand that you would want some sort of redemption. And I can also hopefully understand that you are a wise king and you will realize that this was not done in any other way. And you can go to that corridor and look at that poor man to save your life. It was done by someone who cares for you and for what you represent in terms of your tribe and your son to keep you alive.
He's
Think on
broken
it.
the law, Ulmakor. I should have him executed now. If he wasn't your man, he would already be ahead on a pike. I've said my piece. Caradak, you are free to move around this town and this village. You have till tomorrow and you're wasting time. I have things to prepare for and an injury now that I need to carry into battle because of your man. There is no excuse for assault on a king. Telly have thought I need to see him in my chambers. I would get on with it. Alvar, Alfgeir, if you will represent me in this investigation, I want an impartial ear. And he turns and walks towards the stairs. Climbs up the stairs, Alvar with him. He's personal guard with him. The soldiers standing in the hall seem to be a little bit confused as to what to do now. And Alvar's voice calls down. About your business, get upon patrols, send word. Earforth is summoned to the King's Council. And the guards start to move out. The spell broken almost. You can see there is clear anger and bloodlust on their eyes directed at Caradak. Nobody even attempts to look at Ulmakor. They still lower their eyes in the instance of walking past him. Grim is effectively ignored. But you watch the men, there is a sullen, there is a deep resentment, heavy in the air towards the VakTare warrior from the soldiers as they leave. You're left in the main hall as the servants start to return. Everyone's acting very suspicious. Very nervous around you. You note, except for the normal fires, some of which have gone out from the, a lot of them were used to be thrown at the creature, or down the corridor, they've been fallen to the floor, they've gone out. There's the main fire pit and several side fires, but you start noticing a glow. There's almost a static feeling, an electric, not static, that would be a word you wouldn't use. You can feel the hairs rising up on your arms, around your neck, your eyes, this golden glow. Far from being a nice glow, a glow that fills you with warmth, it's filling you with a little bit of trepidation as you see it seems to emanate from Ulmakor. It seems to be glowing from his eyes and seemingly from his skin. He is emanating power. Perversely, around him, you see timbers starting to whiten. You see a frost start to emanate around his location. You can see clearly his face is far from happy. The serving people avoid you.
Caradak, sit yourself down and tell me what the hell is going on, and be very, very succinct and very straight to the point. Because I'm not happy with what's been going on. You are making our mission unbelievably difficult. what the absolute fuck is going on.
I walk over to the bits of wood that I gathered earlier.
Okay. They're pretty much being kicked around a bit, but you can see where they are.
I put them on the table, didn't I?
No, you didn't get a chance.
Oh, okay. Well,
They were still on the floor.
okay. So as I'm walking to where Ulmakor is, I'll gather some and I'll start arranging them again on the table in front of Ulmakor.
Okay.
What's this? What are you doing? What are you trying to show me?
Upon the table, he arranges the timbers reverse-sided from the way that he pulled them off, and he starts putting them together. There's bits missing, but ultimately, when he puts them together, you've got almost like this lattice work of scorch marks. These have not been something that has. It's not driftwood, and it's just a sign of chaos coming together to bring a message up. This is clearly being produced. This is something that's been written. The markings make you feel almost distracted. You as you look upon them, you find yourself instead looking upon the table.
Right.
You look
So
up and you see the fire, and you can see him. Now, from everybody else's point of view around the table, it just looks like Ulmakor is sort of, looking off into the far distance. And then you bring your mind back, and you focus once more on these markings. And it is quite difficult to focus your mind as you constantly feel distracted by something. Something's popping into your mind about what you're looking at, the hall, the particular weave of one of the tribal kilts. Your eyes focus again on Grimm's tattoos, which you know over the last 5 years. You find it really difficult. You're almost having to drag your attention back, and then before you know it, you've forgotten why you're looking at them because you're staring at something else.
using the other side, I'm check the humor here or the humor around it.
They are all the well, apart from the ether, all
Yeah.
the Humorta here, but they're not acting in any way different at all. They're around the fire, they're on the ground, in the air, playing, tussling people's hairs, and you see you see them on the breeze and in the flick of the flame.
Create that my protective shield that I did that time when we were in our room when being attacked, but I put the shield over the wood as opposed to over me.
Yep.
And then try and see if I can still look at it.
Find yourself after a moment looking at the chair that you've shielded, and then looking back at the table and the bits of timber with the script upon it. The chair to one side of the table.
Right, so it couldn't even. It was misdirected.
Or at least your concentration was at the crucial moment.
Right. Okay, I'll turn away from it and turn to Caradak. I can't even read these letters or these markings, and I don't mean I don't understand them. Something's not letting me read them. I can't see them. Every time I try, I'm suddenly finding myself distracted. Can you describe them to me, or can anyone transcribe these onto a bit of paper so I've got a chance to look at them? Because I can't read them.
I will try.
I don't know if Caradak... Oh, yeah, Caradak can read, right? Yeah, that's right. Sorry, Caradak, I forgot
You
can.
taught me!
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I am distracted. There's something on that wood.
In answer to your question, Ulmakor, I don't understand why I reacted in the way I did. I did not mean to cause King Bjorn any harm. I was merely trying to defend against an oncoming strike. I was merely trying to make him see sense, because if he were to walk in there, he would have died.
Whilst I understand that, and I would expect that would have been the position. You would not be Caradak if you hadn't have tried to stop him. The Caradak that came here broke his arm. That's not the Caradak. That's not the position that you would normally take. You are also somewhat different to me. I don't think I haven't forgotten it. When we were heading out to see where these tracks left, you were not the Caradak. Your actions were entirely out of character. Can you describe your feelings? Why? What's what you said to me that we are that we have to fight the thing. The thing that we're looking for is not here. Where are you going, Ulmakor? It didn't seem to be you. Can you recall that moment? Can you recall what you felt?
Yeah, I just wanted us to refocus on what the bigger threat was at the time. And I thought that thing in there was the bigger threat, and clearly it's not there anymore. Whatever was keeping it in, this thing in front of us, the thing you cannot read, it's important. And I think we're still missing the point, the fact that King Bjorn is so eager to see me gone and dead, but why was it there? Why was it hidden?
That I don't know. And its location is cannot be a coincidence. What we've got now is a situation where we've got 24 hours to try and solve this puzzle. And that's a time constraint I didn't need. You don't need. We also have to work on a plan B contingency, which is if it's looking like we can't get to the bottom of it in the next 24 hours, you need to make yourself scarce. Very scarce. Let's go and have a look down. If seen as the thing's not there, or at least the remnants. So there's something on. Grim, can you look at these scratchings? Can you see them? Can you work out what they are? I can't look at them. They're burn marks, are they? That's all they look to you?
Yeah. Wood with burn marks.
They're not. That's how they're appearing to you. I can't even look at them. Something's on that that's causing my gaze to be averted.
Well, if you think about where that was placed and how the building was put up around it, then
it was to shield it clearly so that no one went into that room.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it allows it to get bigger, kill things, nest, while having a way out. Nobody going through.
You can't look at this. What do you mean you can't look at it?
Every time I try to concentrate on it and determine what these markings might mean, I find myself looking somewhere else. I find my attention is gone. I cannot bring my attention to bear on these markings. Every time I try to do that, I find myself staring at the flames. I'm looking at some of the things, and it's not allowing me to look at that. That is not contrived. That's something acting on me.
So could this have been put in place to shield it from you?
It could well have been that it would be to shield from. You can look at it.
It's not drawing my attention away from it. It's drawing your attention away from it. So could it have been something to hide? Is it something being hidden from you? Or the
could well be
in general?
Could well be that it's to all Semnathai. Possibly. And it was to hide this thing. But
in plain sight.
In plain sight. And if there's a way for it to get in and out, how long has it been there for? If we didn't have just 24 hours to think about it, are you aware of missing people over the years? People mysteriously disappearing? Serving girls? Bondsmen? Warriors?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Sumber-Rogan. People disappear all the time.
Let's go down this corridor. Let's see what's in this room. Let's see if there's anything else we find.
Some old bones in there.
Well, let's go and have a look at those old bones. It's out of there, is it? That thing?
Yeah, it wasn't there. What did you find in the forest when you followed the tracks?
There is clear tracks leading deep into the forest. Animals Worth an inspection. There's something making a regular route to and from this room. Or that hole, anyways, wherever that hole goes, if that hole indeed goes to this room.
If only you could lay a track or something, you know.
Well, let's see what's in this room. Let's have a look at these bones. Let's have a look in this room now that we're not being assaulted by that thing, and then we can take it from there.
Head down the corridor.
I feel something.
You feel something?
Grim, you take a couple of steps as you hear Caradak say that.
I feel that those who look upon these ruins will know peace and contentment in other things. That's what I feel.
Peace and contentment. I think these markings are a distraction. They're there to make the person, the viewer, torpid and not interested in what's behind it. If you're saying it makes you feel, or you think it gives someone peace and contentment, then maybe
certainly doesn't amuse me.
It's not there to amuse, but maybe it just makes you feel that you don't need to go down that room. For me, I can't even see it. I can't even, if this had been on the door, I suspect I wouldn't even been able to go through that door. I would have probably found myself going through a different door, or forgetting why I wanted to go down there.
Those scratchings were put the other way around, so it's stopping what's in that room getting out.
Yes.
Oh, right. It was the other way around. Okay. Well, that completely changes it. So that's to stop the thing inside from getting out.
Maybe we should repair it.
What difference does that make? It's not there anymore.
You can always come back, but there's a hole in the floor.
Was there a hole outside?
There was a hole outside, yeah.
Do you think
we
it's
cracked it? We're good?
Do you think it's escaped out of this hole?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think we're going to find this in 24 hours unless we did. Where did the creature go?
Well, that's the thing. Can we track it?
Maybe the two worked.
I'm going to walk down that corridor to that room.
Okay. You turn and move your way down. Is anybody following?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. You get to the doorway itself, and you can see the room as previously described with this mess. And Alfgar, you can you've obviously got to take a brand with you to be able to see, and you can see that even in the last few minutes since you were last there, that this debris, this evidence of this creature, not the rotting timbers or the room in its condition, but it's actually the evidence of its passing, or even less than they were before. There's still, the whole room is soaking wet. There's still that smell of swamp water and the like, but the sort of the gooey evidence of its of this creature's mass is even smaller. There's even less of it than it was even moments ago. It's almost like it's evaporating, or it's vanishing. You can, as you step towards the doorway fully, or step it over the threshold, you can see partially strewn across the floor, and mainly in the right-hand corner, are the fresh remains of what's left of the warrior that stepped in. The bones have been crushed, they've been pulverized, the remains of the armor has been pulverized, and there is little evidence that it was a man. There is scorching upon the bone, Ulmakor, that is evidence of when you've done. Certain creatures have like a blood and ichor, the way that it's corrosive, and it looks like almost that not only was this crushed, but there was a corrosiveness that was quite intense, and that's what's almost stripped the bone. The meat was the meat upon it. However, you remember this room 5 years ago, and you can recognise the furnishings were as left, but again, they've undergone some form. Well, a lot of the timber, because of the wetness, because of the soaking of this creature's body and its mass, they've been crushed. It's almost like a rowing boat that's been left to rot in a swamp or the bottom of a river, and the timber has slowly darkened and become saturated. But also corrosiveness is evident. Around the where the chest was, you can see the iron bands, which have fared a lot better than the timber, and you can see clear evidence that the hole that Caradak reported to you 5 years previous is still there, and that the chest would have been still stood above it.
So, is there anything that from my dim memories of Erstad's room that would say that's out of place, or is it just it's just rotted basically? It's Erstad's rotted room.
5 years, yes, well beyond any 5 years of being left for even dampness. If the room had a leak in it, there's no way that this mass damage could happen.
Accelerate.
Absolutely, yeah.
And are they humid here?
They are. There's a lot of the luft are still here. You've got the ones you'd expect, and again, they're not acting in any way out of character. There's nothing here that's concerning you in their actions. They're not getting your attention. They're not panicking. They are just moving about as you would expect. In doing so, you see yellowed bone. Pieces of it, some of it near the hole, small fragments of it, and a few select bits, visible, partial hand, some knuckle bones and ankle.
By the hole.
Some of it's near the hole, and as if it's moved away, as if whatever came out of the hole had sort of dropped
pushed it out.
This debris. Yeah. Well, you can't say that it pushed it out, or if it, it's not. You can see the debris of the man that died recently. This is something different, clearly older.
But what happens in 24 hours? What happens in 24 hours on Ulmakor? If you can't find
in 24 hours, we need to move out of here. In 24 hours, we leave the Ulmakor lands. In 24 hours, we go and we find somewhere else to be. Let's hope that we can provide enough information to the satisfaction of the king.
Okay.
Unless you're thinking of making yourself lighter by the shape of your head, then we need to find something, but I won't be constrained by that 24 hours.
No.
But you will be. So we need to get you out of here if we can't find it. And we're not going to wait until the last moment.
Death is there, not an option.
Well, I think we're all of that of individual opinion, aren't we? None of us want to necessarily go. However, you have more to give than a meaningless death to a slighted king.
You can't help but have heard Grim scoff very loudly beside you. He found that statement incredibly funny.
Yeah, that's Grim. That's a slayer. Don't worry, my small, heavily built friend. You will find your death in due course.
There's only two things stopping me, but hey. What can you do?
Seek a glorious death in your case, I think, Grim. Let's have a look at these bones. Let's have a root around, have a poke at them and see whether there's anything special about them or identifies like clothing with it, or is it just pure bone?
The bones themselves, they are human. Clearly, they have extensive corrosion. There's very little you can get with what you can see from here. There was no sort of indication of who they could have belonged to. There's not enough to see if they are the heavier bone of the north. If there's nothing that you can get from this to see if it's from a certain tribe.
Is it male, female? Can we see by the stature, by the size of the bones, by the pelvic area, whether it was a woman or a man?
You would definitely, in your case, because of your extensive knowledge based on the ruined bones around you, you would definitely err towards male.
Right. Okay. And the guy who's stuck up on the ceiling, is his bones yellowing, or are they still white?
Yeah, there still is. Well, you know that they're dampened and blood covered effectively still. You know, there's
Right,
still
okay.
enough debris there to discolour it.
What I'm thinking, everyone, if you're wondering why I'm looking at this, is that this may not be as ancient as it looks. This may not be. Obviously, it can only have been now in the 5 years, I would assume, since we've been in Erstad's room. But this may have happened a couple of weeks ago. I don't know how quickly these bones yellow under whatever this thing does to it. So
I
let's
saw
not.
his face. I did tell you that.
You saw his face.
I saw his dad's face and that mass, whatever it was. I saw the face of Erstad.
That makes no sense.
Why?
Erstad's dead. You killed him yourself. Unless his spirit was trapped somewhere, somehow was kept. I have to think about that.
I think in our line of work, that this shit's pretty normal.
Or is it just that you had intuition that this thing was linked to Erstad and therefore linked to the powers that Erstad was working for?
No, I saw his face. His face literally came out the mass and it was taunting me, beckoning me.
Okay, so maybe Erstad, in some way, form, or shape, still lives. In which case, time for him to die. This hole, is it the trapdoor hole? If Erstad's, it's not a fresh one.
No.
Okay, my friends, who's keen to go down the hole?
I'll go down the hole.
Didn't even ask. Grim, you probably feel upset about that.
It's nowhere near big enough for Grim or, in fact, Alfgeir. Alfgeir is too broad and Grim is just too big all round. And you remember
It's like a cork.
fitted.
Just like,
Which is why I didn't answer.
You're being fattest. How dare you? I've got feelings, you know. Okay.
I can't get
Well,
down it.
You can't get down it.
You see him sort of stand above the hole and sort of put his foot towards it and then he gets a leg down and you can see him sort of get his leg down. He gets to his waist and just I can't get down here.
You could previously. So could Erstad. Is it collapsed?
No.
Previously, didn't you go down here? Maybe my mind's playing tricks on me, Cara, but didn't you go through here last time?
I did. Perhaps it's all that good food and drink up in the Dwarven lands.
No, you can clearly fit down there. You're not that big. There's loads of space.
When he put his feet in and was trying to wiggle in, was there plenty of space?
Do you seem to think so?
There may be something stopping. So something's contained it here. That was the original plan. It couldn't get out through the door because whatever those etchings on the door was keeping it inside, and it couldn't get down this hole. I'm presuming because the same effect that's affecting Caradak, he doesn't believe he can get down that hole when clearly he can. So maybe it's been kept in here by something. I'll see if I can get down that space.
Through the wall.
Well, can we see any sign of it? Any other hole?
No.
All right,
How
I'm going to
get
go
out?
Are you climbing out?
I climbed back out.
Yeah, you climb. Okay. Climbs back out
Okay.
with ease.
I'll see if I can go down that hole.
You step down and you feel the slime coat your clothing, your leggings, and your fur, and you lower yourself down into the hole. It's not tight. You can get your shoulders down.
Caradak, can you see what I'm doing?
Yes. The thing is, I'm I couldn't get my shoulders in, and
You could.
I could previously, but if you notice that I am far broader at the shoulder,
You're not.
I am.
You just think you are.
No, I
Not
am.
for this hole. I know what you think, but we're all looking at you and we can see that you can get down. Something's working on you to stop you from going down this hole.
Nothing's working on me. My shoulders are far too big. I am.
Right.
I am mightier than before.
I'll get out the hole. Climb out.
Yep.
If you can allow me, Caradak, to, if you'd like to put your arms and legs in there to the point where you think that you can't get any further.
I will humour you, Caradak, but clearly this is not going to work.
I'm not Caradak. I'm Ulmakor. It's working on your mind as well.
Ulmakor.
See, it's even making you forget who you are. Put your legs and arms into the hole.
Okay, I'll put my legs in.
Okay.
Now, don't resist. Just let go of the moment. Now push him. Okay. This is very curious. There is clearly space around you. You can clearly fit. We can all see that, yet you're not moving.
What? I told you, my shoulders are too big. They are touching the side.
Get out of the hole, man mountain. You're not that big. Right. There's no point in doing this for you. Can you suggest... I suggest you Caradak and Grim go around to the other side where the hole exits, and we'll go down the hole. I need a brand. Let's get this. This hole lit.
All right then.
Okay. We'll go around.
Careful.
Okay.
You might get stuck in the corridor.
Shut up, midget.
So as Caradak heads off, are you going with him?
No.
Okay, so the three of you stay in the room. Caradak heads off down the corridor. Who's
I thought you
going
told Grim.
No, I was going with him.
Oh, sorry.
Grim's going with him.
Yeah, because these two. Bear in mind, Alfgeir is too broad a shoulder to fit down this hole.
Oh, is he? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Alfgeir, there's no point. You may as well go around. I'll go down through this hole.
Right, I'll pass you the torch then.
Right.
On my way through, when I exit into the hall, can I get I want to get some guards to recover the warrior, the remains of the warrior, and the remaining bones.
Okay.
Separately though.
Understood, sir. They head back down the corridor quickly as you three exit the main hall. In doing so, Earfuth comes running up, his legs pumping into the dirt. Unlike Ulmakor, Earfuth has taken on this new fashion of wearing robes. It's a new thing. Men wearing robes like this is a new fashionable thing that's come from the south, and he seems to have been quite taken by it. You remember, it's only in fairly recent times, and a few people have, and it seems to be those that consider themselves, it's like a sign of either authority, that some of the merchants have taken to doing it as well, instead of wearing trousers. Some of the people that are more in tune with Ulrich, for example, are starting down this path. It's a strange thing, and something that Alfgeir that you find intolerable, really. They're just like women.
You find absolutely abhorrent to your very core. You wish them nothing but death. Oh, okay. So quite mild then.
Alfgeir, what's going on? I've been told that the king's been assaulted. That Ulmakor and Caradak, and he sees obviously Caradak, have attacked him.
Well, the king attacked Caradak. Caradak responded when he should have kind of not. It's rough. But Ulmakor didn't do anything wrong.
Right, okay. Where are you going now? What's going on?
We're investigating this creature that we found in the
Creature?
down the corridor. Yeah,
What creature?
Some.
What corridor?
Some. Come with me.
Right. Are you heading on where you were going?
Yeah, I'm following on now.
Okay. Right, so you head around towards the building itself. Again, this is a military town. There's a vast majority of these men are warriors, and though they will do other things during times of peace, there is still a considerable amount of spear carrying and swords and shields in the area, and they are all glaring openly now at Caradak. They're not even being ashamed, and there is a considerable amount of them, as there always is, but for some reason there just seems to be more when that sense of aggression is in the air. And there's no shadow of a doubt, Ulmakor, that the only reason that it's being held in check is because of your presence close to the man. But you can feel the violence in the air, and it's just simply your presence that's keeping it in check. Moving on around the building itself, again you come to the hall, and it is undisturbed, and the 6 guards are standing around the hall, and they stand to more of a braced, instead of just lounging around, they quickly stand up and watch you, though they're still relaxed as you approach. These are good men, you chose them yourself, and they stand too as you move down the alley, this side street as it were, towards their location.
Any movement?
No, nothing at all from that hall.
Any noise?
No.
I have a look down the hall. Can I see any light?
Are you taking the torch with you? There's a matter of interest, I suppose. Just
I
send us a
handed him
message. Huh? I know you handed him one. Basically, there is a considerable gap. You can easily estimate that there's a considerable distance between the two, the entrance and this exit point. So as you're getting down on your hands and knees and looking down, it is dark, it's wet, and you can feel the slime on your hands. It very quickly soaks into your trews and beyond the normal wet and dirt.
It's just Wednesday. Is the brand still going? It's lit.
So you've dropped down with the brand, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. You're there for a couple of Earth's sort of.
Turns out this thing's made of petrol.
Turn to Earth. Well, congratulations on your promotion.
It's like, it's actually made of kerosene.
Crap. So you put your head down the hole itself, and you can see distant flickering of light. And Earth, Right, Ulmakor, what's going on? You're sticking your head down a rabbit warren. What's this going to do with Ulmakor?
Ulmakor's at the other end of this.
Right, I think you need to start at the beginning quickly. Why is Ulmakor in a rabbit warren?
No, it's not a rabbit warren.
A wabbit?
A wabbit warren.
Wabbit warren. I'm hunting wabbit.
Wabbit.
Well, I think the current theory is that Erstat, who we thought was dead, has somehow come back as some sort of insectoid jelly monster, which has been contained in this room for the last 5 years, plotting and scheming and possibly murdering. And it's already killed a warrior today. So, I'm not quite sure.
This is one of them stupid warrior things. I'm off. Then he turns and stalks off, dragging his robe with him, trying to hinch it up. Beside him in a knot. Slime, you can see the mud slopping into his hands, he's sort of kicking it away. Bloody mud and stupid soldiers. Stupid, they probably had too much ale. Wait till I see Ulmakor. Hang on! Turns. I'm far too busy. What's going on? Right, what? What do you want?
Well, this isn't my theory. This is Ulmakor's theory.
It's too much. Go. It's come back as style.
What the hell?
This man from CNA's.
I will speak to
Hi.
Ulmakor myself. And I will make sure that Alvar is aware of you wasting my time. This is not the moment for jokes. And he disappears around the corner. Just as Ulmakor, mud and slime covered, pops his head up with the torch. What's going on? You come out the other side.
So, when I come out the other side, does it look like my head's coming out of a small rabbit warren?
Yes.
Like there's no way my head could come out that small hole.
Yeah, well, literally, you see the hole and you can get yourself up, but no, there's no way the rest of your body's coming out of here.
Anyone want to take a pop?
You have followed. I've been messaging you. You have followed the original hole, and then where it originally ends, it has been dug out. Something has tunneled its way in to this location, and you've been able to sort of push your way through, and you realise, you're at the entrance point. But it gets tighter and tighter until this entrance point is barely enough for you. I mean, you can see clearly the air's there, and you need air. You haven't done this for comedy value, and so you you come up, and it is loose earth.
Yeah.
You do actually believe that if you get your legs under, you could probably push your way
So
up.
I push my hands up and say, Grim, come on, give us a hand here.
Yeah. Grum.
As I'm birthed from the slime.
Well, as you go like that, you actually you feel sort of on your hands as you go, Grim, help me! And you bring your hands down, you can just see these big dwarf shovel hands like just tearing chunks of earth out. He'd reacted before he's caught your hands a couple of times. You were lucky that he didn't grip it, thinking it was a horrifying monster. And he digs enough of a hole and grabs a hold of your hands. Lucky enough, well, first of all, unlike Grim, for once, he takes a hold of the brand and throws it to one side. You hear somebody behind you go, my eyes! Hair's on fire. And then he grabs a hold of your hands and just pulls you. And you come out, because obviously he's half your size. So he sort of pulls you out of this hole until it's just your waist. The dirt and debris going down inside your tunic. You're smothered in it. You are covered in wet, slimy earth.
Perfect. It's just my element.
Yeah. Sort of lets go of you, and you're like,
it's first century fun.
That's the way we like it.
This is going to not play well in the 15th century, but now this is good. Okay, well, that's not the old entrance. That's not the old. This is curiouser and curiouser. And is there any signs of any tracks or any slime, any passing of the thing?
Well, funny enough, no. There was trails leading away from this, is what you followed originally into the forest. But the slime seems to end in the tunnel. There is no evidence apart from what you've brought out, and you are coated in it. However, as you're looking around and everybody can see, you watch this almost evaporate and turn into wisps until, though wet, you can't tell where the wet from the slime is and where it's just wet from the dirt and the mud that you've just come through. But very quickly, evidence of its passage, this slime has evaporates until there is no evidence of it at all.
Right. Okay.
To the forest.
The rest of you just sort of standing there. There's that sort of stunned silence. You look thoughtfully at the hole and around. Now that Alfke has pointed it out, you can see clearly where this... well, you saw it last time as well, It stayed away from the streets where its tracks would have vanished, but obviously whatever made the tracks would have been spotted during the clear light of day. However, the tracks themselves do lead around the back. And you can see your original footprints leading through the dirt. This is slimy, wet mud that you're tromping through. This is not dry, hard-backed earth. You can see your trail that you all made 15, 20 minutes ago.
I think we should probably follow these tracks again. The thing's not here, is it? What say you, Caradak? You had intuition about this, but moments ago. What does your intuition tell you now?
Say we follow the tracks. Because we have bugger all else.
I'll take that.
Do these tracks go past the incident that was reported?
The incident?
Where the family was attacked?
I don't know where that... I remember the people talking of the incident, but I can't recall where that was. Alfgate, do you know whether this is heading in the direction of where that body was found?
Not really. Maybe.
Well, I guess let's follow them and see where we get to.
We should do
Well,
that
you know where the
first.
track goes. You know where the tracks go already. You've clearly followed it all the way to the northeastern gate, as far as you three are concerned. There's no difference. These are,
Right.
There's no new tracks since then.
Is that where that incident was? Do we know if it's by the northeastern gate?
I think it was. I can't remember. Something's preying on my mind. Remember them three men who accosted Caradak when he was coming in?
I wasn't there for that.
Yeah. I think I might go to have a word with them. Makes no sense. You know what I mean? Out of character. It was
I don't know. Describe.
These three should have had nothing to do with Caradak coming back from. When we left you, when you went to investigate the bridge, Caradak was on his way back.
Mm.
Two main men who should have been on post were with a younger warrior. And it's just occurred to us, kind of like, obviously there was a lot going on, so kind of like I wasn't really paying attention then. Doesn't fit right though. They shouldn't have had any input in that, and I'm trying to understand why they were following this kid. I might go and have a word with him when I get a chance, because something doesn't feel right about that situation. I'm just wondering if there's something else involved. You know, I mean, if we're going to raise our suspicions, I'm going to raise them there.
Can I give a name to you, Alfge? A name that keeps on coming to my mind. A name that means nothing to me. Is anyone aware of the name Zuvasin?
No.
Something's not right here. Do you know the name Zuvasin? Does that mean something to you, Caradak?
Zuvasin.
Zuvasin.
Yeah.
I have. In a dream.
What does that mean to you, Caradak?
It means absolutely nothing, but I recognize the name.
And the context being? Just that you recognize the name?
It's something that I remember from a dream. This name. I don't know what it means. I can't tell you any more than the name. As soon as you mention it there, I recall visualizing the name in a dream.
I was just curious. Shall we follow these tracks then? To the point I got to?
You know, as you say, that Grim is just disappearing around the far corner. Just trudging off.
Oh, he went off, did he? Didn't stop?
You hadn't even noticed. You just sort of turned around at that point because you were looking at each other talking. Then as you go with these tracks and look up, you can just see the back of the Slayer wander off around the corner.
Where's he going
Yeah.
now?
Probably try and get himself killed.
It's a hobby.
Glorious death and that.
Is he heading in the direction of the tracks?
He's definitely following them.
All right. Okay. Just can catch up with that crazy dwarf.
I'll keep pace with Ulmakor.
Okay, walk beside him. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to speak to him about it. I want to.
Well, do it in game in character. So as you walk.
Yeah. So these guys, right? Caradak situation earlier I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Two veteran, fully aged men answering to a 15-year-old newly banded warrior. Accost
Do you know
and
them?
Caradak. Oh yeah, I know them. Now the men I know
Yeah.
are, average men. But this kid is leading them around by the nose almost.
You know the kid?
I do. He's a little shit.
Is he of a position of power, a family that would give him some
No.
call over them?
No.
There's no reason why seasoned warriors would be taking anything from a 15
odd.
or a small boy.
Odd situation, isn't it? Now, if we're looking for kind of like unusual situations, I think once we've had a chance to follow these tracks and whatever happens, you might want to have a word with them.
Well, we might want to talk to the small boy to find out.
I think I'll speak to the men, and you speak to the small boy.
Yeah, I think we get a... Yeah, that is curious. Where did they go?
I fucked them off. I sent them off after the post. I didn't have time at the time when it was happening.
What was their interest in Caradak?
Exactly. I didn't really give them a chance, but they were posted at the main gate, northeast. So they will be there. They'll be on post, so we'll be able to catch them up later. I know who the kid is, but we need to speak to them because shit like that doesn't go down without payment or instruction.
Aren't we going to the northeastern gate now? Is that not where we're heading to? With these tracks?
Me? No, I've repeatedly said it's going out to the northeast gate. I thought that was in game.
Yeah,
Why would you ask me again? Yes, the northeast gate.
No, that's what I'm saying. Aren't we going? No, I'm saying.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
No.
Right.
That
wasn't
aren't we going that way?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Pause. So we're going to bump into these people anyways, potentially. Is that where you sent them back to?
Yeah, but I think we need to kind of like to see what's going on, follow the tracks, etc., and then on the way back we'll probably deal with them. And unless you want us to hang back, I mean, I'd rather be there, kind of like if there's any shit going down, you know.
I'm just thinking when we go through the northeast gate, will they not be on guard at post there?
Yes.
Are we not going to? So when we come to them, we're just going to go past them, or should we? Let's see what we think when we go past them. Let's follow the tracks.
Well, it depends. I mean, the kid, his name's Finn. Now, if he's around them, it's worth it. But I mean, as I say, kind of like, what's our priority here? I think our priority is to follow the tracks.
Yes,
but I don't want to derail the investigation with something that could be complete shit. You know,
it is complete shit,
and I don't want to waste time. So, if I find nothing,
probably should have killed him when I had the chance.
Well, that would have been a problem, wouldn't it?
What are you talking about, Caradak? Kill who?
This Finn.
Why do you want to kill this boy?
I don't know. Apparently he's an issue now. How is he an issue?
Well, he's not an issue. Why do you want to kill him?
He's just suspicious.
Suspicious of what? He's trouble.
Really?
I sense trouble.
What trouble do you sense?
It's no when a little shit like that can get you into trouble, and I think that's what he wants. Should have killed him when I had the chance.
You're not making sense, Caradak. How are you feeling?
I'm absolutely fine. How are you
Really?
feeling?
Well, I'm feeling a bit perplexed that you're suddenly talking about you want to kill a young warrior barely old enough to shave because we're wondering how he's in a position to gain authority over two older warriors, which could be something as simple as his family, or he's paid them coin, or who knows, and you're immediately wanting to kill him. You don't normally think with your swords, you think with your brain.
Of course, I agree, 100%. I don't mean to kill him, I'm just merely making a point that he's not an issue. And if I wanted to kill him, I could have done.
I would say he's more of a lead than an issue. Acting out of character isn't something you execute someone for.
Who's acting out of character?
The boy
Finn was acting out of character. Eric and Raymond were acting out of character, but it's not something you would stab them for.
Is he big and dark and goes bump in the night?
No.
Then he's
the exact
a
opposite.
15-year-old boy.
So let's not derail this because I only have 24 hours.
Exactly. That's why we're walking towards the gate.
Keep walking, Caradak. You're starting to go.
I don't even know why we brought him up in the first place.
Keep walking. It's all right. We'll do the thinking. You do the walking. Come on. We'll carry on walking.
Another point. When we're inside,
Mm-hmm.
You know the fella from the Jetones?
Yes.
The big one, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Bit strange how his attitude changed when he was outside, yeah?
Well, maybe he'd realised he was acting like an arse, and it was not in the best interests of his kingdom to represent himself such a way.
Mm.
Maybe he's had an illumination in his mind to realise he'd been sent here to get support, and the first thing he'd done is the exact opposite of that, is he's got everyone's back up.
I mean, it's pretty fun. I enjoyed myself, but I mean, you know, obviously, I don't know how all of this mumbo jumbo works, but I mean, is this thing having an effect inside the castle? Is this why Bjorn's acting the way he is?
All things are possible. Everyone's personality is being changed. Caradak's acting out of sorts. Bjorn's sort of acting out of sorts, although to be fair, he was assaulted in his castle, in his stronghold. Let's carry on with this tracking.
Well, I don't think I'm acting out of sorts at all. I think I'm acting perfectly rationally for someone who wants to get a job done. I think King Bjorn's out of place massively. He's forgetting his place in this world. Let's not forget, many moons ago, you and I, Ulmakor, were in the forest. And your father put us on our way, on our mission. And that's all I see. It's all I've ever seen. King Bjorn is just a minute part of this entire story that's unfolding in front of us. He should be grateful. He should be grateful for what we've done for him and his kingdom. If it wasn't for us, as he knows, his son wouldn't be here today.
Yes, you're not wrong.
And you forget. I think Ulmakor, you've taken it too lightly. I think the Ulmakor that I used to know wouldn't have sat down and took it so easily. I think you're going soft in your old age.
I'm looking around. Where are we?
You approaching the gate at this point.
And are we where we were last time when he had his outburst?
Yeah. The gate looms above you. You can see the warriors are around. There's a dozen or so on the ground, lounging against the open gates, spears, shields, that sort of thing. You can see those on the palisade above with bows. The warriors are clearly all there.
Okay, well, keep going. Keep talking, Caradak. It's very interesting.
So we do what we always do. Ulmakor, we'll hunt this thing down, find it. It's irrelevant. The 24 hours mean nothing. It's a timeline, not for us, but for him. If he wants to seal the Unbroken's fate, then that's his head, not ours.
We have to travel a touch lightly, Caradak. I don't necessarily A, want to take on the Unbroken army. B, even if I did, I don't think it's a good idea because we do need the Unbroken army under King Bjorn for the greater purpose. We have to bear that in mind.
You're right.
You pass under the gate. Again, the usual, as you approach the soldiers, the sentries themselves, they glower at Caradak, who seems to be, at this point, to be fair, Caradak, you are unaware of it. You know, you are talking to Ulmakor, you're quite adamant in this conversation. Grim, you can't help but instinctively start getting twitchy. Your hand, your grip is, you can feel a threat, though you're not sort of seeing a threat. You're feeling the sense of a tension in the air, and obviously, Alfgar, you are well aware of the soldiers around you. Each and every one you know by name. Some very good men, but nearly everybody here has a history of loss with the VakTare, and this pent-up aggression is. You didn't notice it yesterday or last night, and you weren't around him. You clearly can't go, is this because and triggered by his attack on the king? Because not all these guards could possibly have known. The ones on the gate, somebody could have told them by now, obviously. But you just become more aware there is a distinct animosity directed towards Caradak. But you were aware of this animosity towards the VakTare. But now it seems that there's an outlet brewing that needs to be is being pointed towards this warrior. You pass under the gate and onto the bridge. Caradak, Ulmakor, you note the killing ground, the open field that leads towards the trees. You see the ground where the bonfire was all those years ago. Caradak, you find it, or this comes to mind, you stepping forward as Erstat turns to you and orders you to make the sacrifice to Ulrich. At that moment, you relive in your mind, you step forward with your spear, long since gone, and thrusting it through the open mouth of the Sakanik, killing him instantly, and then decapitating him, throwing his head into the fire as his body collapses to the floor, and the tribe around you goes quiet and sullen. Very quickly you're back, and you see the open trees. You retrace visually the steps that you took 5 years ago leaving the forest, looking up at the tree line where you left the great forest when you first saw the city for the first time. You can see an almost grim Avgar. You can see there's a slowing down of his pace for a moment. His eyes almost become hooded. He looks up at the trees, and in doing so you see Ulmakor staring straight ahead at the tree line. There's a different look upon his face that you've never seen before. It is not a passing look. He's staring directly at the trees. This is a good 120, maybe more, foot away. You know, there's a clear. You know, this is a killing ground that's kept between the great forest, a place of monstrous creatures and death, from the main city. And it has been done in such a way and so long, tarred over the years, and it is just an open field. The trees have long since been vanished and cut away, the roots pulled out, but the trees are kept away from the walls, so that there's a killing ground, not just from the creatures, but this is also an invading route, historically from the Taal, who are now allies, but also from the Tutijans, who sometimes will foray across the great Talabek River.
I'll turn to this lot. I think we should go into the. I think we should go and point towards the dark canopy. I think we should go that way.
Okay. I'll lead on.
You point towards it. The canopy. Lead on. Caradak, you take your first couple of steps. Alfgeir, Grim, or you?
I'll be following behind.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll just keep pace.
I'll keep heading in that direction he was pointing.
Right, in which case, because we'll leave it there, because we're on a different time zone now. Nevin has to leave us. We will be looking towards starting an hour earlier, from 8:15. Well, actually, technically 8:15. So, if we can, we'll get it a little bit earlier. But it'll be 8:15 to 11:30 will be the new show time. Simply because the UK have come back in time, and where Nevin is hasn't, so he's losing an hour. He still has to go to work regardless of what we want. I would have liked to have been able to get further forward. I think we've had some great time. We've had a good story moving forward. We are short of where I need it to be, which unfortunately puts us back an episode. What I will say is, and this is going to be a surprise, I would have liked to have had the story a bit further forward, but unfortunately we can't, so we are going to have a new player next week. We're going to have a new member of the Cortex team. There'll be a big reveal. A new member of the Cortex team. There will be a camera set up. He will be part of it. But we haven't introduced his character, so he's going to spend a lot of time watching. But just in case we do get to the point where he can speak, he'll have to be here. So
I'll be amongst time.
So tune in next week. A new Cortex member, a new role player. I'm not even going to give you his name.
His name's Talbot's replacement. I mean, sorry, he's called.
Since Talbot's clearly lost his mind, we need somebody that doesn't talk in the third person.
Talbot's freaking fine.
Talbot's fine! Ah! Nope, you definitely lost your shit.
Finding a new gaming role-playing place.
A new gaming role-playing place.
Yes, I'm sure someone out there will appreciate me more.
I doubt it.
Off you go to Gmod Hogwarts Online.
I can play Quidditch! Woo! I'm a sicker! Oh, he's lost it again. I prefer the adult version of Hogwarts where Harry Potter turns out not to be a wizard. He's actually in an insanity ward, and his mind is trying to keep him away from the darkness horror of what happens to him at night.
And he's been attacked by orderlies on a regular basis, and it's his way of escaping.
I'm a wizard!
I'm in Hogwarts. No, you're being sodomized by orderlies.
Much better version. Just the type of place that Talbot likes to hang.
Yeah. Well, or as he likes to be called in that game, Hermione.
Miss me when I'm gone.
In Miney. Only because we can't actually shoot at you.
Yeah. Anyways,
Nevin, thanks very much.
The nameless one will be there next week.
Yes, he will pop up on camera. You guys will get a few moments before the masses. I've missed about 5 zeros off on the edge there. I realised that thing there above, just directly below Ivan, that number. The way I've put it, it's actually missing off 5 or 6 extra digits. There's that many people watching this right now. It's not really zero.
Yeah.
So
it's just gone around the clock. It's a bit like when you look at your car and it says, you've done 400 miles.
Yeah. But our new player will be with us next week, which means that we will probably have 2 new viewers. That'll be his mum and his girlfriend. And we'll go from there. So, tune in. New player showing up. He'll definitely have to sit and listen. But at least it gives him a chance to see how insane Talbot is. I mean, where the game's going. And the new storyline will start next week. We've just lost an hour, lads.
Stop making out that I'm cracked in the head. I'm not. I'm fine.
No, you're batshit crazy, mate.
Yeah.
We just say you're fine just to keep you calm.
Just don't recognise you. It's like, what happened to him? Obviously too much pumpkin juice.
Keep all the sharp edges away from you.
Just so you know as well, Talbot's going to have somebody sitting with him next week.
No. This is my shit right here. No one's in there.
I'm gonna slow that down, and he's gonna go. This is my shit right here.
My shit right here.
Looking like he's throwing it around the camera.
You know what's gonna happen next week? I'm gonna be replaced by
A robot.
That
Pumpkin.
the pumpkin.
No, show the one with the cowie face and no teeth. It's
No, that's just
directly behind you, mate. Just
The
move.
really ugly one, and he's just standing there. It's like,
Throt. Yeah, he's pretty. Yep, so new player.
all right.
Do you remember Cortex? Big reveal. He's never done anything for us before. He's joined us. It was part of a large national recruitment, and like the rest of the guys in this channel, the best role player, rated number 5 in the country. Obviously, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here. So when you do tune in and go, who are these guys? Well, we're the best role players in the country, if not the world, and we've just got number 5, and so we'll go from there. And it'll be Cortexed up.
You need to go for one.
Actually, I should be doing that. But I'm not saying anything to the lumberjack. So very quickly before Nevin goes, obviously Nevin and Ivan, the bearded guys above, they're not part of this. But myself, these two guys are part of Movember, so I'm shaving.
I've shaved.
I've shaved.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah, he has actually.
I haven't got a chance. I mean, this is a week.
This is like 3 hours.
Honestly,
Potato Head Brothers.
I knew I was going to win this, and then that thing showed up.
No,
It's ruined.
no.
So yes,
You're-
so Movember
You're in
starts
competition
tomorrow morning.
with a Yeti.
Yeah, Movember starts tomorrow. Let's see what our facial hair looks like in a week. Mine will look exactly like this, and so I've already tested that out. And
I look
by the way, the new guy, funny enough, is also part of the Movember test.
Right.
Like that guy over here, he would like to be able to. He would like to be able to actually shave or grow a beard for the first time ever.
Like all of them.
So there's no competition.
Massive age difference.
There is actually. Yeah. It is true, actually. To be fair, Holt is at least half his age. He's an old man but he's been drinking from the Fountain of Youth. Right, anyway, thanks very much, Nevin. Guys, Nevin, we haven't got a chance. You've run out of time. I'm going to let you shoot.
Thank you.
Which is going to mess up all the cameras. And because I'm wild like that, I'm not even going to try and fix it. So I just want to see what it looks like. We'll have a couple of minutes of chat, and we'll go from there.
Okay, catch you later, guys.
See you
Take
next
care.
week.
See you,
Mate.
Devin.
At an earlier time. Not for you. Earlier time for
Good
us.
day at work, man.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, we'll just work with that.
Yeah. How long's your head?
He's got the world's longest face.
Massive forehead.
That's my
Full on pal.
You said that long? Oh shit! Hey, it's whether you're gonna do you squat or rise above it. Right, so there you go. Anybody tuning in right now, we've just lost Nevin,
Really
and
long neck.
I'm not messing with the cameras because it'll just have to be remessed with next week. Right. Okay. So I'm going to start with yourself. I want to, we want to get through this because, I need a piss. So Holt, what's Holt thinking? I'm not going to ask Grim. What's Holt thinking? Give us your insights. First of all, what's going on with Caradak?
What the heck?
Oof. He's nuts.
How?
That's it. That's it. He's just nuts.
No,
Is there anything
I'm
going on? I mean,
thinking he's had stuff done to him, which no human has had done to him.
that's a hell of a thing to say.
Yeah, well, he's been played with by the gods. He's following a demigod, and he's also had the power of the white dwarf in him. So something's bound to break.
So basically, from your point of view, you're thinking that you're seeing the strain of the mortal mind. The human mind is starting to fracture. It's starting to fray. is that simply down to the psychological trauma of the things that he's been part of the 5 years fighting in the mountains. Again, the dwarves are used to it, the Dawi are used to it, but the humans aren't. His mind is literally just giving up. It's so traumatized by the things it's seen throughout its life. He's got to 30. I mean, that's getting on to a good age for a human.
Yeah.
Or like Ulmakor, but and I don't want to put words necessarily into Alfgeir's mouth. I think he said it. Do you think it's something to do with the creature, the thing under the hole that's made its way off into the forest? Do you think that's got anything to do with it? Is he reacting to something that nobody else can sense?
I think his exposure to the Dawi and magics and all that kind of thing have altered his perception.
He's more susceptible to it.
Yeah.
So he could see something that you can't, or is it in his mind?
There were some dwarves that could be like that. So, yeah. But he's got a weaker mind, so
He's fractured.
it's bound to take effect. Yeah,
I think it's possible that is a bit.
Yeah. Well, Holt, so, anything else that you want to say? Anything you want to bring up? Anything that was on your mind that you just want to say before I move on and start quizzing Ivan?
that's it.
Yeah? So basically, because let's be honest, that's what it's all about right now. The creature seems to be secondary. We got out of the fight with the king. The king is literally not backing down. This is going to be exciting, but you don't care about that. Grim doesn't. Everything's focused on the erratic behaviour of the VakTare, a very dangerous man. Anyway, but technically, I suppose the same questions to yourself, Ivan, from Alfgeir's point of view, but also from yours. Is there something having an influence? Can he actually see something, or is it in his mind? Is Caradak losing it?
From my perspective, or Alfgeir's?
Go with both. From your perspective first, or Alfgeir's, that we know which one?
Alfgeir's obviously been observing him for a while, so changing him. It's not a mental disorder when it's sudden like that. It's external influence. And obviously Alfgeir's looking at it. He doesn't know his history or anything like that. But he's fairly astute when it comes to kind of like observing people. He can see changes in attitude. That's part of his warrior training. He's a champion. That's what he reads people. He reads attacks. He reads defenses, feints, and changes, and he saw a change. So, from that perspective, I think it's more to do with the condition he's received, kind of like while he's been away, which has kind of like affected him and possibly attuned him to whatever is going on here. I don't think he's mental. I think he's playing it fast and loose with Ulmakor, though he's going to get a fucking kick.
Yeah, that's the thing that's out of character for the VakTare. Now, bear in mind that Alfgeir knows that the VakTare are taken from childbirth. They never find out who their parents are, even what tribe they came from. And from what the stories are, not only do they make the best, most ferocious soldiers in the human realms, but yeah, they are genuinely fearless. They're terrifying to fight in combat because they're silent. Not like the crazed warriors that the tribes are. And of course, he's gone from a very constrained thing to being part of what broke the Seminathi's control. The stories are out there that Caradak was fighting against brother and killing the VakTare, the Seminathi. There's been some, even Alfgeir, he's hitting his 20s and he's sort of going, I don't know how much of this is true. But Caradak is meant to be, one of the best, if not the best, the most ferocious warrior of the VakTare himself. And we know the VakTare, we know the Seminathi are destroyed. But of course, then you've got Ulmakor coming back and saying, they're not, they're changed. They're still a genuine threat. But bear this in mind that we are still talking. They only got here last night. This is the same day. This is literally just gone lunchtime, and he's already confronted Guthrie. He's already disappeared. He came back, he stands at the door, he's acting weird, he shouts at the Seminathi. Nobody does that. So so are you saying from Alfgeir's point of view and from Ivan's point of view that he can see something you can't? He's not mad, he's actually reacting.
He's already proved it several times.
Yeah? Well, is this from Ivan?
Well, I mean, like, okay, take a look at the scratchings, the burnt kind of markings on the thing. He spotted that.
Mm.
He spotted. I mean, he's the only person in 5 years to go, what's down that corridor?
Good call.
That's not madness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, that's a good call.
he's
the madness do
there's-
see different things.
well, it's not. They don't. They see things differently. Do you know what I mean? There's a subtle difference there. The truly deranged will see things that aren't there,
Yeah.
but they'll interpret them in something that's kind of like that makes no sense. Where this made sense.
Yeah.
He drew the attention of Ulmakor to this thing. Ulmakor went, "That's weird," which proves that it's not madness; it's something else.
But the way he's going about things, he's challenging Ulmakor's base of authority, isn't he? Insulting him almost.
I mean, from my perspective, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
He's
mean,
just got big balls.
very big balls.
Yeah.
But also, there's not that. There's also the physical change in him.
Well, it seems to be. Yeah, that's a strange one.
He's a lot. Yeah, like the way he planted himself in the door, the way he crushed the fucking king's hand. You know, all of these things are.
Yeah, that's not a sign of madness, is it?
Not madness.
Yeah, he stopped the king's punch in with one hand and broke his hand and dropped him to the floor. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an external power, I think.
Internal.
Or external. I mean, it's not something that he could manifest internally, is it? I mean, yes, he's training and all that kind of thing, but he's still a man. And as far as I understand, there is absolutely no way he can manifest that level of power without an external help.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in all respects, both Ivan, I suppose, and VakTare is the difference in sheer prowess capability. You know, okay, we know in game, the VakTare are aware of fighting styles that nobody else does. You know, everybody else just runs at you with an axe and tries to stab you. Out of game, we know of fighting styles that can use a man's strength against him and weight and that sort of thing. It doesn't mean that you could take a strike from someone the size of Bjorn and break his hand in your grip. Just tick. You know, Bjorn should have brushed him aside. And then, of course, the ridiculous, out of proportion, muscular creature that the Drengi is bounced off him. He pushed VakTare into the wall, but yet you look at him and go, he's got an athletic build. He's more of like a runner, a sprinter in build, not a rugby player. You know, that's not a sign of madness.
No.
So I see what you're saying.
Physics.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's defying the law of physics now.
Yeah, even with the ability to take on a much bigger man, you're gonna have to move back with that punch, aren't you? It's not just gonna be, you know. So I see where we're going with that. And it's a good call, mate. Yeah, I like that.
And I forgot to mention last week, obviously, out of game, the three men. Which is why I brought them in. I suddenly introduced them kind of like without cue because I thought, I need to get this in before this goes any further. I know kind of like Caradak thinks they're a distraction and all that kind of thing, but I think that something is very, very important to be learned from that. Whatever it is. I mean, obviously we're out of game now, so kind of like I'm thinking kind of like, is this the formation of the brother? What connection to the VakTare do these three have?
They don't. It's more of a connection to Sigma.
Is that character knowledge or player knowledge?
Well, not knowledge. Is that who's just said that? Was that Holt, or was that from Holt's opinion of what Grimm thinks?
That was from Holt's opinion from watching So from when you went to slap Caradak, he was bullying a Sigma at the time. So.
Yeah, but Finn, the kid, was the one doing the bullying.
Yes. That's what I mean.
So why would he give a shit about a VakTare who follows Taal? You know what I mean?
Because he was standing up against the Simplify, and they don't like the Simplify.
I guess. But
So they were trying to get him on board, so they could use him.
There certainly does seem to be kind of like something there.
Yeah.
But I'd like to hear from kind of like, I mean, the plan was to split them up and literally just grill them and possibly torture them.
It's just.
Well, it'll be interesting because obviously Alfgeir has the authority to do that. So next week, obviously we're finished with this. We need to go this way, and everybody clearly saw Ulmakor stare at that forest with a clear, single-minded certainty, and then suddenly go, "We're going this way." Everyone, okay. So you're going to go into the forest, and so Alfgeir has the authority. He has the authority of the king. He has the authority of the champion of Alvar. We'll see how Alfgeir takes a bigger role in the decision making, in the direction, especially when it comes to these warriors and these soldiers.
I mean, I don't know how you're finding it with Alfgeir, but I'm trying to kind of like give him a bit of a sense of humor, because his situation is that he's a champion and everyone's kind of shit scared of him, and he uses the humor to kind of like put people at ease, rather than, because obviously he's a big deal, but he's not the king.
Yep.
And he doesn't like the scraping.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So he wants people to be at ease with him, so you can see truly what they're thinking. So it's more of a disarming, so kind of like they haven't got their guard up all of the time, so you can read them properly. I don't know if that's coming across.
Well, I suppose that's the curse of the youth. A 20-year-old saying, "I just want to be your friend," with an ultimatum. Admittedly, just want to be your friend, and everyone's like, "Shit, it's the champion." Caradak, for example, would adamantly tell you that he was going, "Everybody just calm down," while he assaulted the king. Perception of one is different to the beholder. I think that when I sit at a table and talk to people, I'm approachable. I'm that cuddly guy. And I've been told several times, "No, it looks like you're going to stab us." So let's see if Alfgeir is coming across in such a way in the future.
I mean, I understand people are scared of him, but it would be nice for him to be able to kind of like to relate.
Resting my ears.
Oh, you say my voice is that bad that it's causing damage? Sorry, Ivan. Just one moment.
Ring the bell.
Just a foot. How's your ears now? Anyway, I'm approachable.
A slipper.
Yeah.
Next week we might wander off into the forest and never come back.
Well, that's it. Never might see the town anyway.
So, I mean, it has been known that we'll just go off on a tangent and never return. So kind of like, I thought I'd best introduce them. So like, if we run out and if we get there and go, "Yeah, this is just a fucking forest, mate," we can turn around and go, "Let's go and question those fuckers," and at least we've got a lead.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Get,
Some
no,
form
absolutely.
of lead. That's dodgy, so let's kick them in until they tell with the truth,
The
so
good
that's
thing
why I
about
brought it in.
I think, Ivan, as you're pointing out, is when you flounder, when you're looking for direction, it's good to be able to go, "There's something weird going on here. Let's go and punch it and see what it does."
Absolutely. I mean, that is the style.
That's how you taught me to deal with rancors.
Absolutely. And how many pelts did we come back? Well, it was meat, but still, so much meat.
Yeah. It's an interesting story to tell people that, whether they know Star Wars or not, but the amount of rancors our roundhouse kicked to death. Luke Skywalker's a pussy. He beat one with a bone. Me and you used to go out there with boxer shorts and some gloves.
Right. Terrace Carsey them to bits, man.
Right.
For millions.
Exactly. It got me AV-21. It got me my slave one.
Yeah, man.
Right. Over to you, Talbert the Mad. How we feeling? Obviously, you can't talk about Caradak. And it seems that the story has revolved around Caradak, so I think you're a bit limited. From a complete out-of-body experience, how does Talbot think, what's affecting Caradak? What's going on there?
I don't think there's any issue, to be honest. I'm just thinking he's naturally playing a guy that's been places, done things in a short amount of period of time. And he also remembers, he hinted at the meeting a god.
He didn't hint. He said, I was with
you
in the forest when I met a god.
Oh, by the way, when you met your dad in the forest, and he was like, you've got a purpose there. You, right there. You, VakTare, you've got a purpose. Don't forget it. And he's like, oh my god, it's a fucking god. Yeah. Oh my god, it's Taal.
Yeah, the father of the gods.
So hang on a second.
Did you miss that? Do you think, did Alfgeir miss that part?
I missed that part, obviously. So, when I was saying external influences, right? Maybe he's got a little bit of Taal on his shoulder, kind of like going,
Oh no! Don't start that. You know what's gonna happen? This is gonna become the Garantine all over again. He's just got a bit of Taal on his shoulders. You're right.
I am Taal, and that's how it ends up. I am Taal.
Got a bit of Taal and a bit of Ronald.
There's only one direction this story's going now.
I'm going to have to rein him in.
From my perspective, that usually means a massive bloody sacrifice of myself.
It does, yes. Alfgeir's got a couple of episodes left in him.
Every campaign. Right then.
Yep.
Time for me to fucking die, is it?
Yeah, got a new character coming, have I? And then Holt is Holt.
Yeah, so based on that, I don't think he's playing it. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I think everyone's just jumping the gun and going, "Oh, there's like, he's acting all weird and stuff." I mean, how do you expect him to act? He's pissed at Guthrie because Guthrie was showing him disrespect because he was like, "Look, we're out here doing all the hard stuff, all the grinding, saving the world, while you plonkers are going, ooh, look at us, we got our all, worldly problems, he's on my turf, and I'm not having that." While we're going, look, there's a big beasties over there which we're gonna eat yous all, and we need to take care of that shit.
Because you're a trained VakTare.
I'm a trained VakTare.
Conditioned to follow Ulmakor's every word and whim, and you're going, fuck you, Ulmakor.
No, I'm not. Oh, no, let's not forget that. It's been a long time since that period. I'm not conditioning aside. Ulmakor was always give him some sort of freedom, and that over 5 years, that relationship has changed.
I don't think anybody else is going to agree with that. I like how you look at it.
What?
But nothing.
It's been 5 years.
Oh yeah, but 25 years of conditioning from birth, and it's been 5 years. Oh, I've just totally unravelled it in a day. 5 years.
Magic has that influence.
Oh, he's thrown in the N word.
5 years.
Okay.
Or should say the gods have that influence.
I mean, nobody else shouts at him. Nobody else.
It was shouting at him.
Maybe it's the. No, you did.
Maybe it's the relationship.
F this! You're a waste! Why don't you listen to your dad? Ah, you crap. You might as well.
Is that how the subtitles go?
Yeah.
You're shit!
You're a crap son of a god! Your father's ashamed of you!
You're a proper pussy, you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be as hard as me.
Get on with your job, you pussy!
Exactly. I'm just reminded him.
The big reveal bit going to be that you're possessed by Taal. You're just like a little Taal puppet.
Oh my god, that's it. You're going down the Garantine route.
Of course, we just totally overlooked the fact that the Endels have went, the Jutones have invaded your actual closest allies, but that's not what they've actually called the Umber Ogun to aid them with. Yeah, something's happening to the villagers in the Marburg. Yeah. So the king has called.
He said that it was the Jutones who were attacking. They just said that they crossed the border.
Exactly, and that's a big deal. So are the Jutones in flight? Yeah. So
I think they're running for their lives, which is said exactly what whatever his face is.
Guthrie
said. Yeah, they're running for their lives.
Yes.
Something's coming, and we're kind of dicking around. But I mean, we do need to know. I mean, I think this is Vanguard kind of like territory. If I'm being honest about this kind of like current thing, I think it might be something that we don't need to spend too much time on. I think it's something maybe we can round back on.
It's like 24 hours got to spend on.
Well, yeah, we've got 24 hours on it, which kind of is nice of the king, to be honest. Great and powerful and wise.
Caradak should have killed him.
And he wonders why, in 24 hours, if you haven't proven yourself, Caradak ends up with a head on a spike. And he's like, I should have killed the king, publicly, repeatedly in the street.
I mean, bear in mind where you stand, right?
Afterwards, and I was ranting out loud.
To the champion!
Surrounded by the gods and the champion.
And Alfgeir's like, shit.
Well, I best watch this guy closely.
I suspect this guy might be a threat to the king.
Why does everyone hear this?
Yeah. Walking through the gate, you know, the king's a pussy, I want to kill him, I should have killed the king. What are you looking at? What's his problem? And the only reason that you haven't been assaulted and stoned to death is the champion's with you, who's also going like, what do you mean? No, I never had a sheath. I have to carry my sword constantly pointed at you. And those 6 archers that follow us, they're there to carry my water.
And the shield wall to protect me.
Yeah.
He attacked me first. However, let's just say, you know what I mean?
Oh, no, he was out the lane. He was being a right fucking Billy Big Balls. Watch me fucking die.
That way. The champion saying this.
I mean,
the thing is, even the champion, he goes, "This is me, champion," and he goes, "Yeah, I've seen it," and he just basically goes, "No, I don't believe you."
That was fucking. He's a knob. I mean, he is king is king, and
me and him are going to get along fine. By the way, your champion thinks you're a knob as well.
Up until you try to kill the king.
Alfgeir would never voice that, but Ivan
says that you're
quite happily call that king a fuckwit.
It's not the king's champion.
Well, to be fair, Alfgeir isn't quite the king's champion, but I don't think there's a title for apprentice, champion's apprentice. Yeah, he's going to replace the champion when the champion steps down and gets killed. Probably by Caradak trying to kill the king.
Ooh, I didn't try and kill the king. I was just...
No, but you will when the king goes, right, I ordered his death. The champion's going to step forward. Alfgeir's going, oh, I've got a promotion. I wonder how much I can run. Because
how long my promotion lasts.
Because the VakTare and a friggin' Slayer and the Ulmakor are all three, you know, whoever's closest is going to explode. You know. Alfgeir's the new former champion. Send in the 500-600 Umberogan warriors, and then fire arrows from the background. You know, there's no instructions that said the champion has to be at the front doing Achilles.
So this is how it happens. So this is how we unite the tribes, by killing everyone. So we are just literally the only tribe left.
So you turn up at the borders and go,
we are united.
Yeah, you turn up at the borders and say, right, everybody unite, otherwise we'll do to you what we just did to the Umberogans, slaughter you all to a man. What difference is that from how the VakTare, the Semnithai, did it in the past?
Why break it?
Because you keep on saying, I am not VakTare! How quick! Literally the first time you challenged, straight, not you, obviously, in character, right, Ulmakor and Caradak, we're not Semnithai, we're not VakTare. Oh, if that's the case, I'll make a decision for myself. Oh, do you know who I am? You're just an advisor, and you're his bodyguard. I could kill you with a tree. All right, shit. You know, do what I say, and we're not these people. Don't do what I say, and we are. Alfgeir, no wonder. It's only Grim doesn't care. Alfgeir must be like, I don't know if I should stab them or run away from them.
But I think, see, we were always just given this title, VakTare, Semnithai, but I think we are just playing how we are meant to play the roles of our characters. Well, you can sugarcoat anything and call us, whatever you want, really. The A-team. It doesn't make any difference. We'll still be, we're still going to carry on the way we carry on.
Ivan, do you just get a feeling that effectively what just happened there is he just looked at a rock and went, that's a rock?
Yes.
Exactly. That's my point. You could say this is a rock. It's not. It's a mouse, but let's say it's a rock, right?
Why did you
This
say it
is
was
the-
a mouse? Why are you
it's a-
confusing your example?
I'm now confused whether he's actually playing a character and he has some player knowledge that he's acting upon, or whether he's just playing the character the way he wants to play the character, and it's kind of like the brief hasn't been quite detailed enough for him, and now that he should be kind of like bowing, scraping the
Let's
Ulmakor,
be
you
honest,
know, because
there's a very good chance that could be a high possibility because I don't reach it. I can't. So I don't. My level of retaining information is very, very poor. So
That's even in conversations as well.
Well,
yeah. So
either way, it's going to go in one direction with Ulmakor.
yeah, it is. It's going to be fucking bad.
so listen, this rock.
It's a
not
mouse.
that- This is a mouse, but let's say it's a rock. I can call it
it's
a
a
rock,
mouse.
but it's not. It's a
Why
mouse.
don't you just call it
So
a
it doesn't
mouse?
matter what it is. If I throw it very hard at someone's head, it's still gonna cause them some damage. So it doesn't make any difference what you call it.
A rock would be a lot worse than a plastic
Yeah,
mouse.
But it depends on the size of the rock.
Well, it would depend on what the evidence given in your court case, wouldn't it? I threw a mouse. Well, a mouse could be kind of like thrown in a fit of rage, but finding yourself a rock and bounce it off someone's head, well,
In the
that seems
office.
premeditated.
Yeah, I think you brought the rock into the office with you.
got a
I don't
rock
think
on
anyone
the
cares
floor.
about the size of it.
Okay, let's just go back to swords.
Swords. Well, we're going to call it there because I think ultimately our very good friend Talbot has made a very good argument about a mouse in an office and actually bringing a dangerous weapon out of from the street into the office to hit somebody with. And we'll leave it with that because I like to do that to him. So I will see you next week. Guys, we're looking at an earlier time of hopefully go live 8:15. No, that's what we normally do. 7:15. We're looking at 7:15. Otherwise, we're getting even shorter, and I'd rather not do that. But ultimately, we'll have a discussion. We've had pretty much yes from you, Ivan. It was kind of a less confident yes from Holt, and Talbot. Yeah, I don't even know if we've got a yes or some kind of mewling sound. So we'll see what happens. What do we know, Talbot? 7:15.
No,
What?
I don't know.
Well, when do you know we're going to tell them so that they're ready? And they're
Right
tuned
now,
in?
I don't like people. You'll have to speak to my agent.
Caradak's got to lose a limb.
I want a pay rise. My next episode because I don't like the idea of being replaced.
Okay, you can get one more immersion.
You're not being replaced. You're just getting company.
Substitute.
I work alone. I don't do this.
All right, Shaft. Right, we'll see you at 7:15 next week. Thanks very much, everybody. And just so you know, well, audio might get recorded like last time. Good night.
Doesn't go in that hole.
So this new player, do I know them?
No.
So that's just brand new.
Me yesterday.
Where'd you find?
Yesterday.
But has he ever have you played with him before?
Ian, have you played with it?
Why is it a surprise to us though?
Just don't look in Talbot's eyes.
I'm
He's an Xbox.
I actually I was like, okay, that must have started really.
Brilliant.
I'll bring me gloves next time.